Salam.
So we've entered now into Surah At-Tawbah, and as most of you know, Surah At-Tawbah is very peculiar because it does not begin with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So there are 114 chapters in the Quran, and all of them begin with the Basmalah except Surah At-Tawbah. And there's a lot said about why this is the case, but the upshot of it all is that the Surah At-Tawbah was amongst the last chapters and verses to be revealed. It was revealed at the very end of the Prophet's life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu compiled the Mus'haf, who was the first to compile the Mus'haf in one sort of volume, there was no Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And many of the companions, they held the view that Surah At-Tawbah is essentially part of Surah Al-Anfal, and it's just a continuation. And this is why there is no demarcation. But it is its own surah, because the way that it was documented by the companions is that it was its own chapter, but it does not begin with the Basmalah. And so how many then Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahims are there in the Quran? How many? 113. There's 114, because in Surah An-Naml there is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in the middle of the verse. So there are 114 Basmalas in the Quran, even though Surah At-Tawbah does not begin with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And there are different opinions about the Basmalah, but the sort of majority opinion, the opinion that I follow, so it must be the right opinion, is that the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is part of all of the surahs, including Surah Al-Fatiha. So this is just one of the differences. But the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is what we say when we open something, in the name of Allah, the Merciful and the Compassionate. And you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has many names and many attributes. A lot of us, we think there's only 99. This is because this is what's related in one hadith that's narrated by Abu Hurairah. But there are infinite names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah ta'ala is infinite. And the ulama, they understood Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names as being three types of names. There are Asma'ul Jalal, the names of beauty, like Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Wujud, Al-Latif, the merciful, the compassionate, the subtle one. There are the names of Jalal, the names of majesty, Al-Muntaqim, Al-Jabbar. These are the names that only befit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's majesty, the one who avenges, the one who takes life. And there are Asma' al-Kamal, they are the names of completeness, and this is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, As-Sami' al-Alim, the one that's all hearing and all knowing. Humans, they can have attributes from the Jamal and the Jalal, but Allah ta'ala and the Prophet ﷺ taught us to have only Asma' al-Jamal, only the attributes of beauty. The attributes of majesty are only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though we can manifest that against one another and against ourselves, this is not for us. We stick with the Jamal. And of all of these names and attributes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He picks two names of beauty to begin each chapter of the Quran. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Jamalun ala Jamal. Allah is beauty and mercy upon mercy. And His mercy is endless. He says in the Hadith al-Qudsi, يَا ابْنَ آدَمْ إِنِّي حَرَّمْتُ الظُّلْمَ عَلَى نَفْسِي وَجَعَلْتَهُ بَيْنَكُمْ مُحَرَّمًا فَلَا تَظَالَمُوا. I have made injustice against my nature, and I have made it for you haram, so do not be unjust one to another. So for us is the mercy. Surah Al-Bara'ah, Surah At-Tawbah, was revealed at the very end of the Prophet's life, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Around the year 6 of the Hijrah, the Prophet, peace be upon him, after Hijrah means he migrated to Medina, he lived in Mecca for 13 years as a Prophet and 10 in Medina. So year 6 in Medina, he established the state of Medina. He has an army. He's the head of the nation. He wants to go and he wants to perform Umrah. So he goes with about 1,400 companions to make Umrah, and they make it all the way to Al-Hudaybiyah. And the Quraysh, they stop them. And they say, you're not allowed to make Umrah. And the Prophet ﷺ, he enters into a peace agreement with Quraysh. Even though the companions were against this, the Prophet, peace be upon him, he signed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah and he broke his ihram and went back to Medina without performing the Umrah. In this peace treaty, one of the things that they agreed is that they would continue trading with each other, that if any Muslim from Mecca came to Medina, the Prophet ﷺ would send him back to Mecca, which the companions thought was crazy, and that the Quraysh of Mecca would not collude with the enemies of the Muslims north of Medina, particularly the tribes in Khaybar and others. And even though at this time the companions felt that this was crazy, that the Prophet ﷺ would do this, this broke the attack against Medina and against the Prophet ﷺ. So there was like a dual fight from the north and the south against Medina, and the Prophet ﷺ neutralized the problem in the south. However, as is the nature of the people of Quraysh, they violated this treaty. And it is with the violation of this treaty that this surah was revealed, telling the Prophet ﷺ that now is the time to go and to take Mecca. And this is what these verses really are about. The whole idea that this chapter and these verses in Anfal and At-Tawbah were revealed shows us that it was not the nature of the Prophet ﷺ to fight. It had to come from revelation. Allah Ta'ala is telling you, okay, now you have to get up and you have to take action. No more. Now you can't leave the Kaaba this way. Now you can't leave Mecca this way. And he took Mecca without shedding any blood. He took Mecca without any upset. And within a matter of years and months really after that, all of the peninsula falls in line and there is no more injustice. And Surah At-Tawbah ends with this beautiful verse. Verse 117. لَقَدْ تَابَ اللَّهُ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ وَالْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given forgiveness and His tawbah on the people that migrated, the muhajir, from Mecca to Medina, and the Ansar, the people of Medina, they gave support to the Prophet ﷺ, the Aus and the Khazraj. الَّذِينَ تَبَعُوهُ فِي سَاعَةِ الْعُسْرِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا كَادَ يَزِيغُ قُلُوبُ فَرِيقٍ مِّنْهُمْ ثُمَّ تَابَ عَلَيْهِمْ. These people, the Muhajirin and the Ansar, they supported the Prophet ﷺ when things were tough. Sa'at al-Usri, in the most difficult moment. And we will read now when we stand for the وَيَوْمَ حُنَيْنٍ إِذْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ كَثْرَتُكُمْ وَضَاقَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحَبَتْ ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ مُدْبِرِينَ ثُمَّ أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ سَكِينَتَهُ عَلَى رُسُولِهِ وَعَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah reminds them, remember the day of Hunayn, the battle of Hunayn, when everyone was against you and you thought that you were going to lose. And then Allah Ta'ala descended His mercy and His quietness on you. So in this verse Allah says, these people followed the Prophet ﷺ at the darkest of moments, the most difficult of moments, and He forgave them. And for this reason the surah is called Surah At-Tawbah. Why is this important? What does this have to do with the verses about having to go take Mecca and fighting the kuffar and not turning back in battle and the spoils of war? Because all of this was done through following the Prophet ﷺ. That these verses, these companions, these Muslims were following the orders of Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ. And Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ was following the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the tawbah, the repentance, the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes from following Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ completely and not partially. And that's how when we receive these things, we put them in perspective and we don't misinterpret and we don't misact and we do not commit crimes against one another. And that's why we have these verses, so we can comment on them and understand them in relation with the other verses and in relation with the actual life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم.